Hey, this is Jon Johnson with Gabriela Cernas-Frantz, and this is the Mortgage Market Mastermind with our special guest today, Sean Miller.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you, man. 2-1 buy down. This is the last one I really want to get your opinion on, Sean. We're seeing this a lot. I just made a video on it. Tons of agents are talking about it. This is pretty much where you go from, instead of let's say 30-year, 7% rate all 30 years, the first year, it will be down 2%, so it'll be only 5% the first year. Second year, 6%. Then the rest 28 years, it'll be 7%. This is not for everyone, but for your specific buyer, savvy buyer, someone who doesn't mind looking at the market once a year to see if they want to refinance, etc. This could be a good product. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, it's just another tool in the tool belt. The seller has to cover the cost of it. But I mean, I had talked with a listing agent the other day, and I was like, their property's sitting on the market longer. I was like, hey, you could offer for the seller to cover the cost of a 2-1 buy down for the buyer. And, they'll get a 2% lower rate the first year, 1%, just like you said, the second year, and years 3 and on the same rate. The cost of it is going to be a little less than 3% of the purchase price for the seller to cover. But instead of the seller dropping their price 20 grand, maybe they offer to cover the cost of a 2-1 buy down that, and every situation is different, but let's just say the 2-1 buy down costs $8,000 for the seller. That's better than doing a $20,000 price reduction. Then the client can, first year get a 4.5% rate, second year 5.5% rate, years 3 and on 6.5%. That sounds attractive.
Yeah, it's marketing to get these buyers into your property. So, I mean, if you have 10K that the seller is willing to move around, they can either drop the price 10K, or they can give 10K towards the cash to close. They can give 10K towards a normal buy down. So maybe instead of 7%, it goes to 6% for 30 years. Or you can do this 2-1 buy down option, which will get it down 2 percentage points and then 1 percentage point. And then, so there's a lot of different options and ways a seller can be able to use that same $10,000 they would have used towards getting their home sold in the mortgage space. Just speaking with the mortgage lender, we can be able to tell you guys more about 2-1 buy downs, about a normal buy down, about using it towards cash to close. There's creative ways to be able to get these homes sold. Anything else you'd like to mention on this, Gabriela?
Yeah, when it comes to 2-1 buy downs, we were talking about it several months ago, and it's just starting to come out a little bit more. But the realtor who had actually asked a question about it, it's like, I would much rather find a way to make the home and negotiate with the buyer than to do a price reduction, because that's going to show up on realtor.com, MLS, whatever, search engine you use to search the home, because it tracks the price reductions. And then, so when the buyer's like, okay, so I see this home's being price reduced again and again and again. And so then from the buyer's perspective, it's like, if you're going to keep dropping the price down, they can become a little bit more, buyer side.
The savvy investors start drooling.
Correct. And then they're like, well, then the question is, well, what's wrong with this home? And then the realtor gets questioned, did you price it accordingly? So the aesthetics, from what it looks like, when you do price reductions, that those are big decisions that the sellers and the realtors have to make. So instead of doing that, if you talk to a lender and start discussing, like, how can I, people always think that we're just representing the buyers and that we only discuss buyer options, but they haven't actually stopped to consider that when you talk to a lender, we can actually give some advice regarding the listing side as well. And this is that tool. It's a resource to discuss with a seller about options that they can offer to buyers. And especially if we have a buyer who's willing to, wants to negotiate and wants to get into that home. And you can eliminate that price reduction on that home.
Good. You got it.